Next up at UFC Seattle, we got Modestas Bukauskas taking on Raffael Cerqueira. Somebody spelled it out for me, like literally wrote out all the syllables. The syllables that they wrote out wasn't anything I would have ever gotten to on my own. But we're here. Modestas Bukauskas 16-6 in his career, 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming off a bounce-back win. Raffael Cerqueira, we're going to say. We're going to pretend he's Italian. 11-1 in his career, 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming off his first professional loss. Modestas Bukauskas, pretty versatile striker. He's dangerous on the feet. He's a bit low volume, which is why if you look at his stats on the next slide, he's got a negative striking differential. But he's got all the tools to be successful in the UFC. 71% takedown defense, typically a striker only. But he did just get 2 offensive takedowns and a submission win over Marcin Prachnio. Raffael Cerqueira is a patient guy. He fights pretty loose and fluid. He's not in a hurry. He doesn't chase finishes, and he doesn't even seem to throw with intent. But he is very dangerous.
Or throw it all sometimes.
He's just watching. He's athletic enough to be creative on the feet. He's got good enough ground game to hang there as well. He's pretty big at 6'4". He uses that size to move forward, get you on your back foot. He's an interesting guy to watch because when you're watching the tape, you do see a pretty low volume guy that's not doing anything. And then you look at the record, and the guy's got 10 stoppages. Well, but
his
literally.
last fight, he literally didn't do anything.
But if you look at his other fights as well, and then you look at his record, you would be surprised that 10 of his 11 wins are by stoppage. Because he doesn't seem like wildly aggressive.
I think that doesn't say he's a very good dog. I know my Portuguese.
He is, and we're about to get there. He's not very aggressive, but he does find finishes. He's coming off that 1-minute knockout loss to Ibo Aslan in his UFC debut. I've said this time and time again. The way Jacob and I do these breakdowns is we watch the tape. If we need to watch the tape, we do our breakdown, we make our pick, and then we look at the odds. If we have somehow avoided the odds before doing the breakdown. And I was shocked when I moved over from my pick to the odds to see that Raffael, it was a big plus money dog. It made no sense to me. And the line continues to move. And I understand. Like, Modestas should win this fight, right? I am going to pick him.
We'll see a bet.
I'm going to pick Modestas, but at minus 285, it makes no sense whatsoever. I'm going to pick him because he is likely the better striker. And as long as this stays a striking match, I think he'd have some success. But Raffael is a tough dude. He finds finishes. He's not a coward. He's going to move forward. He might not have a ton of volume, but he is going to be in this fight. And I understand that Raffael was just knocked out in his last fight. Oh, he's a bum. But Modestas Bukauskas has been knocked out 4 times. 4 times he's been knocked out. So I'm going to pick Bukauskas here. These odds are long gone. Don't touch it. It's ridiculous. Raffael's an absolute phenomenal underdog. I'm just not going to pull the trigger on him. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, this comes down to is Modestas going to fuck up or not? He's the better fighter. He's the actual technical fighter. He's well-rounded. He's going to be in and out. He can touch this guy and just move out of the way because this guy, Raffael, is, honestly, I don't think he's a UFC guy. He's got power, but he throws it wild. It's not like technical power. Some of it's like just spinning bullshit against regional guys. I don't think he's a UFC guy, but he does have that power. And if you watch Modestas fight, he can be pretty clean with the striking, but a lot of times he will hang out in the pocket. He wasn't knocked out in his last fight, but I think he got stumbled and hurt like 2 or 3 different times and stuff. If Raffael is landing those same shots, it could be lights out. If Modestas does not respect the power of this guy, as looping and wild as it is, and hangs out in the pocket, he could get slept. You know, if I'm looking at the odds here, and I'm seeing the under 1.5, you know, maybe Modestas is staying on the outside. We know Raffael can already be boring, but I think the first exchange, something could happen in this. And I'm looking at Raffael first round KO at plus 800, and I'm thinking, you know, I'm not a value play type of guy, but against a guy like, as you mentioned, has been knocked out before, was even getting hurt in his last fight against Prachnio. I mean, that head kick was crazy. I mean, he had Prachnio hurt, and then he somehow slips up that head kick, but he hurt him with his hands too later on in that fight. He turned Modestas into a wrestler, so he definitely does get hit. I think at plus 800 has you know, like you said, last week we almost hit the second round Vince Morales submission for plus 1,600, I think it was absolutely insane. I think this plus 800 could have some legs to it, but Modestas is the better fighter. I'm taking Modestas.
There we go. Pretty straightforward. We're on the same page here.
What was that? I didn't like that.
I'm multitasking.
Okay.
I'm getting customer support emails. I'm getting DMs on Discord. It's crazy. People have no respect for the live stream. We're on the same page. I'm not spending that money. Minus 285 seems crazy. Now, the DraftKings money might make some sense because whoever wins this fight is likely going to win by finish. You could bet does not go a distance. That's obviously very, very juiced.
I don't know if Modestas is going to win by, not necessarily win by finish. If he's smart, he'll probably just get in and out.
I think then the over on the round is going to be plus money. There you go. There you go. DraftKings Fantasy, I probably will spend the $9,300 on Modestas Bukauskas, but depending on what you want to do and what tools you use, and if you want to play DraftKings Fantasy, you have full access to the artificial intelligence. You have full access to the Slate Sleuth articles. You have full access to the optimizer, full access to the fight simulator, which will simulate fights 100,000 times and give you those results. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member. Everything you could ever want or need heading into a fight week.